What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the tavern. I'm Spencer,
And I'm Eli.
and we're slightly late because I got distracted. Uh, so
I wasn't paying attention to time because I'm reading.
yeah. Um, well, that was kind of funny. I was like, "Oh shoot, we're late." Um, but yeah, today we got a couple of fun topics. First of all, D&D is broken now. It don't work no more. The new core rulebook came out, and it is terrible. So
I
our friend here, Eli, has been reading through
Okay,
a
first
lot
off,
of the
first off,
stuff.
first off. Let's start at the beginning. Welcome to our 1 year anniversary, fucker.
Oh gosh, is it?
Episode 52.
Oh, it is the. Oh my gosh, it is the 1 year. Wow. How have we not been canceled yet?
I don't know.
Dude. Yeah, and if we had done it on Thursday, funny enough, that would have fallen directly on
1 year.
the 1 year. But yeah, wow. Look at that, everybody. We've made 1 year of Bardic Blunders. That is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez Louise.
1 year.
What's up, Razorbolt? What's up, Pizza Pie? Hi, Ian. That's cool, Razorbolt. But yes, D&D. Oh man, with some of the things Eli has been describing to me, because this man got the new core rulebook.
I bought it to check it out, to be like, I was like out, and I saw it, and I was like, I should just pick that up and actually like read through it, see if they really did mess up.
Right.
Turns out they did. So, for those who don't know, are you still there?
No,
Okay.
I'm never here.
Um, for those who don't know, they did release this not too long ago. It's been out for a while. We found out through our group chat. Um, but very awkwardly, it was supposed to come out around end of October, start of November time. They released it in September, a few days before Draw Steel was released.
Which,
And
that,
they
for anybody who doesn't know, Draw Steel is Matt Coville's RPG, tabletop
and
RPG.
I have that, and I've read through it, and out the way they did the backgrounds in this, the backgrounds and race features, well, origin features as they call them now, are completely the same as Matt Coville's doing, and I wonder, like, ooh man, they stole that, but changed it just enough where they can't get sued.
Right. Uh, Real quick, Ian, no, I haven't seen anything about Outer Worlds, and I don't really care about Warframe, so I don't pay attention to it. And Pizza Pie, Sonic CD is pass or trash. Sonic CD is good. Anyways, back to D&D.
So, going through it, they butchered some of our favorite classes.
Yeah, because they suck. The
Um,
Wizards of the Coast, not the classes.
yeah. They basically pushed wizards down and beat them up more than they normally get beat up, which is really sad because I love wizards.
Wizards are
You
great.
love Wizards.
Wizards are awesome.
They broke the Druid's kneecaps, but we had already talked about that one before. They broke the Monk's kneecaps. Um,
Well, see,
they
funny
did,
enough, they did some things to improve Monk, but then they did a lot of things that it's just like, well, then why did you even bother with the improvements?
yeah. Barbarians scraped out pretty okay. Bards made out really good. And when I say really good, they got away with murder. Because pretty much nothing changed for bards. They actually got more things. They got another level of expertise thrown
Well,
in there.
and bards are like some of the like I know people talk about broken glasses and everything. Clerics are fairly broken. Druids are very broken, especially if you mix them with some other classes like that druid barbarian that's practically unkillable. There's things like that it's like, yeah, I can see why they needed to address that stuff. But the thing is, rather than so here's something I believe this is the philosophy that should be held in any sort of design like this, game design, D&D, like tabletop design, whatever. If something is broken and it is not actively ruining the game because there is something like about it that, like, if in the early days of, what was it, I think Modern Warfare 3, the new one, or Modern Warfare 2, whichever one it was, where shotguns were like snipers, where you could hit somebody from across the map with a shotgun because they broke the range, something like that needs to be fixed. But when you look at a game and go, oh, wow, this thing is really good, rather than going, let's make it not good, go, okay, let's make everything else better to compare to it. It's something that irritates me with League, because it'll be like, oh, this is really good right now. Oh, okay, cool. So this character I like, I can play. Oh, okay, they nerfed that so bad that it's not even worth buying anymore, and now this character that heavily benefited from it, you can't even play. Like, don't even bother playing them. They suck. They're useless. Well, that makes it like, well, what if that was my favorite character? Now I can't play my favorite character anymore because they're terrible. That happened to Aphelios. I know Aphelios was really broken at that stage in League, but when they nerfed him, they took it way too far and made him practically useless for a while.
Yeah.
And I hate when they do that, because it's like, now that's not fun to play anymore. And they're doing the same thing with D&D. Yes, you know what? Clerics are strong. Druids are strong. Make all the other classes stronger to match that, and then start doing things to make the monsters stronger.
Yeah. That's the best way to do it.
What's up, Dauntless Stark?
So, this is something that I learned a long time ago with game creation. Especially with RPG-based games. As the designer and developer, you need to put the power in the hands of the players. You need to make all the players feel powerful, because if you don't, no one's going to play your game.
Right.
Unless people are like me and like to torture their players. But not a lot of people like to do that. So,
well,
whoopsie daisy.
And the thing is, that when there's, I'm glad you found us again, Dauntless Stark. Glad to have you back. But when there's a imbalance of power, the problem is you get a player who plays a fighter, and the fighter is pretty decent in combat, not as good as a lot of other classes, but it's like, Yeah, okay. The fighter will do his couple of things in combat, and then he's kind of useless, and then outside of combat, he's completely useless. And so you get the person who's playing the druid who it's like, oh, we're sneaking in. I can change into a mouse and run around and nobody can find me. Or, oh, I'm playing the rogue and I'm super stealthy. So I get we need to pick a lock. Well, I'm the guy who picks the locks. Like, that's perfect for me. We're playing the wizard. Oh, there's something that involves intelligence. Man, yeah, get our wizard on it. He's the smart one. There's a number of classes that can be the charismatic one. The bard, the paladin, the warlock, like
the sorcerer.
Oh, the sorcerer, yeah. All of them get these other tools to use outside of combat, and then the fighter's just left standing there like, guess I'm here. You guys needed something heavy moved? I can do that. Oh, but the barbarian can do that better. Oh, shoot. Well, hope we don't have a barbarian. So there's certain things, and there's subclasses too that feel like that, where you're like, why did I even take that? Like when I played the Blade Singer, I was like, all that ends up happening is I just get knocked down and I don't get to do anything because I'm playing a wizard who doesn't have much better defenses, running up into the middle of combat, which is not what a wizard's supposed to do. Now, yes, you can do things to make the Blade Singer better by multi-classing and stuff like that. There's fixes to it. But you end up having where, like, one player's having a freaking great time because they're just kicking ass and taking names. And then, this other person who's like, well, I guess I kind of suck because I just picked the wrong subclass or I picked the wrong class, whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, artificers have a lot of drawbacks as well. But even artificers, it's like, oh, we need to make something? Go to the artificer.
Yeah. I do. So our last campaign, we had a player who did play an artificer and who did say towards the end it's turned into this, like, hey, I'm just here to heal people. That is my only job now.
What?
I am completely useless.
Word for word, what he said was, I'm great before combat because I can make you all magic items. In combat, I can't do anything.
Yeah. It is my job to be the battlefield medic.
Yeah. And the thing is,
like,
he didn't sign up for that job when he picked artificer. When I picked Clerical Life, I signed up for that job. I knew exactly what I was going to be. But I wasn't just a battlefield medic. I was killing things. Because Life Cleric is still a freaking cleric. I can still take inflict wounds and murder things with a backhand. Like...
Yeah, he was not too happy with it, and I did feel bad for him towards the end of the campaign.
Right. Which is why I think what needs to happen is what we're probably going to end up doing. I don't know if we'll fully switch over to draw steel. I'm sure we'll try it here soon. But
I gotta read a lot of rules.
At the very least, what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna pick out the things we like from the new core rules, augment things in 5e to fit them, to try and make some classes feel better. And then that's it. We're just going to keep running with the typical 5e rules.
Yeah.
And we've already done a lot of things. Like, for crap's sake, we've said, like, if you play a Circle of the Moon Druid, it's half your CR, not a third.
Yeah.
Because then when you're playing a level 20 Moon Druid and the most you can turn into is, like, what? If it's a third, it's
CR7.
CR7, which... Like, that's freaking nothing.
Yeah.
Like, at least if you get up to CR10, it lets you turn into some young dragons. An issue with D&D is you come up with baller ideas, find it gets completely deconstructed when implementing to the rules of the game. Yeah, exactly. In all honesty, we play essentially 5.5 with how many rules we've homebrewed and changed.
We've added so much and taken out so much and changed so much.
Like, you want to know something we don't ever pay attention to? We don't ever pay attention to material components for spells.
Nope.
Because why on
Unless we
earth would I
have
want to
to.
grind this D&D session to a halt to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to go spend $400 on diamonds
Yeah.
so I can cast the spell more than once, you know?
I will say, like, I will bring that. Have brought that up before. It's like, yeah, you can cast that spell, but you still need to spend the money for the components. That's the only thing. I don't care. You guys will find the components
See, well,
unless we're playing
there's certain spells that
something
it
that's
makes
very
absolute
hard.
sense for.
Resurrection spells.
Resurrection spells, any spells that involve like fabricate or fixing things. Like I can understand requiring the materials to do stuff like that. But if I want to cast fireball, I don't want to have a hair off a troll's nutsack just so I can do it. Like,
What do you mean? It's just bat poop.
I mean, I don't remember what off the top of my head whatever every material component is for any spells that require it, but it's like seriously, most of the time I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is just stupid.
Yeah. We ignore that. We've implemented a lot of rules. Like, one thing I do with druids to kind of level it out is I don't let the players turn into anything they haven't seen before.
Right. Which
Because
is
I was like,
fantastic. It forces the druid to go out of the way to do research. And it also gives the druid this, like, oh, we just fought that cool thing. I can turn into that later.
yes. That's like, you guys fought a bullet, and our current druid in my campaign hasn't brought up, like, hey, am I at the level that I can turn into a bullet yet? Because, yeah, you guys fought it. I'm not going to say, no, you can't, because you guys have already seen it.
Right. Well, and it'll be another 3 levels, because isn't a bullet CR5?
Might be. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I think it's CR5, so he has to hit at least level 10 before he can do it, but I'll remind him of that. Isn't Force Cage on the most broken spells?
It was, and now they changed it, so it's completely useless now.
Oh gosh, okay. I'm not familiar with Force Cage, so let me read it out right now.
Basically, it's a spell that traps a certain person inside of it for a specific amount of time. They can't do anything inside that cage. So basically,
invisible cube-shaped prison composed of magical force springs into existence around an area you choose within range. The prison can be a cage or a solid box you choose. Shape of a cage, up to 20 feet on the side, and is made up from 1/2 inch diameter bars spaced a 1/2 inch apart. Prison in the shape of the box can be up to 10 feet on a side, creating a solid barrier that prevents any matter from passing through it and blocking any spells cast in or out from the area. When you cast a spell, any creature that is completely inside the cage is trapped. Creatures only partially within the area or those too large to fit inside are pushed away from the center of the area until they are completely outside it. A creature inside the cage can't leave it by non-magical means. If the creature tries to use teleportation or interplanar travel to leave, it must first make a charisma saving throw. Successful save, use magic to exit. Failed save, a creature doesn't exit the cage and wastes the spell or effect. Also extends into the ethereal plane, blocking ethereal travel. This spell can't be dispelled by dispel magic. Okay.
yeah.
What did they do to it in the new version?
I am finding it right now.
Fantastic.
I gotta flip a lot of pages.
That is a fantastic spell. That's
I was gonna use it against you, by the way.
against
In
me.
this last session, if you guys decided to fight right away,
Oh, okay.
I was gonna trap you guys that way. Okay. So, level 7, an immobile, invisible, cube-shaped prison composed of magical forces springs into existence. The prison is same shape, yada yada. When you cast the spell, any creature trapped within the area, any completely in there, that's the same. A creature inside the cage can't leave by non-magical means. If the creature tries to teleport away, it must first fit. It's the same exact thing.
Oh.
Interesting. Except it's concentration now. It used to not be concentration.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That actually is a huge nerf, though.
Concentration
No.
hurts.
It says this one's concentration. So it's the same spell.
I was
I
told
mean,
it was.
I
It,
get,
you have the right.
I get the addition sucks, but we can't, peddle falsehoods here.
Yes, we can. What are you talking about? We're
Listen,
all about
man.
peddling falsehoods.
We've survived for a year. We can't start lying now.
Yes, lie to the.
I think you need to be a YouTuber for at least 3 years before you start lying to your audience.
Nah, listen to Jay Slat. Smoking's good for you, kids.
Oh boy.
I will say, they have gone through and put in a lot of things to make life as a DM easier.
Ooh.
Like, hey, this is how much a hireling costs. Hey, if you want a spell or you want somebody else to cast a spell for you, well, this is what you're gonna need.
Well, that's good.
This is how much a spell scroll costs. And how much it costs to make it. And the time.
Yeah, I mean, quality of life stuff like that is nice.
They went through and with all of the tools, they gave like things that like, hey, alchemist supplies. Identify a substance as a DC 15 or start a fire is a DC 15. If you want to craft something with it, these are the things you can craft. So it actually goes through and explains all of that stuff to you in this, which I will be using that. The weapon mastery properties, I really liked those. It actually gives the fighters and rogues like something that they can do in combat that isn't just I stab it and I run away.
Yeah, exactly. Which that's admittedly why I've liked spellcasters much more, because when I have played a rogue, it's just like, I mean, what Dante was literally, I jump in, I stab with my two swords, I jump back and hide.
Yeah.
I don't think I took damage most of that campaign because nothing could see me.
Yeah. And there were other problems to deal with in our party.
Mm-hmm.
Why go after the rogue who's the rogue's dealing damage, but you have a healer running around making fun of you the entire time. You have a sorcerer who's just whipping out huge spells every turn.
Yeah, you really are limited by a lot as a martial class by what on what you can do, and
So, as I've read most of the classes, I've seen that they have really tried to push for a balance between martial classes and spellcasting classes are equal from start to finish, and I hate that.
I mean, there's a certain amount of that I like, because I think the gap in 5e is a little bit too big, because early game martial classes are the way to go, but once you hit late game, most of the martial classes kind of suck compared to the spellcasters.
Yeah.
And I do think there needs to be more of a balance.
There needs to be more of a balance, but like you still have monks that are considered martial classes that aren't good in the beginning that are crazy good towards the end, and
Right.
then warlocks who are crazy good at the beginning, but once you start getting to late game, they're kind of all bark no bite.
Yeah, and that's most of what happens in 5e now is people trying to put together broken class combinations. Like, oh, I'm going to multi-class this into this, and then, now I can...
Bear Druid.
Yeah, Bear Druid is one of them. There's a bunch of them. I'm sure Bladesinger Samurai would still work even without the Gestalt rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it ends up becoming. It's like, well, okay, I really don't have a point to keep staying in this class. I might as well grab something else to give me some other functionality.
Mm-hmm. Mm, but yeah, they pretty much flipped the board on the classes. Um, I mean, they gave Dragonborn's Dark Vision,
Okay.
which is quite nice. They made all of the dwarves the same, which kind of sucks.
What do you mean all the dwarves?
So you know how you had mountain dwarves, hill dwarves, and Duragar?
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're
They're all
just
the
all the
same
same.
now.
That, oh.
Uh,
See, this,
all the elves are get the same bonuses, but if you pick them, you get level 1, level 3, and level 5 stuff,
hmm. This,
which is pretty much the same. Gnomes still have their sub races, which is nice. Goliaths got more sub races.
but then they took away all the dwarves. This is what see. I think part of the problem with these core rules is that it seems like they went mainstream and they've changed a lot of things. I understand this is what people's sentiment was with 5e initially was, oh, D&D's gone mainstream, but I think at this point that truly is the case because you look at some of the changes they're making, like not calling them races anymore. Now they're species, and you don't get any inherent advantages from playing these different literally different species. An orc is so different from an elf, which is different from a human, which is different from a freaking walking lizard that can breathe fire. Like, they're completely different.
Yeah.
So to act
Humans
like,
got buffed.
how so?
They now have resourceful as a special trait, which you get a inspiration die every time you finish a long rest. You keep the skilled from old 5e, and you get versatile. You get a feat to start out the game.
Okay.
Orcs lost their powerful build.
Oh goodness, dude. So, as a player, what are my thoughts on being hit with a spell that's homebrewed?
Oh,
So, I don't know that I've ever been hit with a spell that's homebrewed. So, Eli, you're probably going to have a better perspective on that because I have used homebrewed spells against you guys.
yeah. I don't. As long as the spell makes sense, as long as it's a fair spell. I don't like the spells that are like, okay, you're instantly dead. That's why I hate Power Word Kill so much as a spell.
Power Word
It
Kill
being
at least has to have the stipulation of you're under 100 hit points. The problem is
yeah.
so many classes are easily put under 100 hit points.
Yeah.
Where, like, you could have a big bad spellcaster who's just like, turn 1, damage you, turn 2, power word kill. And there's nothing the player can do in response.
Exactly.
Which is why I haven't given anybody power word kill. I've given some ridiculous spells before that I've hit you guys with, and you guys are like, oh gosh. But
we had the fight with the fire lich, or I know you and me had a long talk about what kind of lich he was, but when he cast flame hurricane, that was dope.
It was kind of like, it was essentially the equivalent of, I think, an 8th level spell, where it's a concentration spell that I didn't really run like a concentration spell. I just let it be a thing that stayed up for half the fight before it fell off. You know,
Yeah.
to switch
But
to him
it
being
caused
more
us to
active.
completely fight differently.
Exactly. And that's what I like about things like that. And I actually have a possible fight. It's not going to guaranteed be a fight, but I have a character who almost his entire spell list is spells that I've created.
Yeah.
Because the idea is like he's just written his own spells.
And that's another thing, like,
you know,
like, hey, yeah, I'm playing a wizard. I want to make some new spells. That's a normal thing. Like, my character from your last game started making their own spells. Yeah, it was closer towards the end when they had a better grasp on magic because their whole thing was they weren't really that in tune with magic. So the more they learned, the more they felt comfortable with
I had
using magic.
I had forgotten that I was actually making a spell in your campaign.
Yeah.
And I just remembered it the other day, and I'm like, oh shoot, I have access to 4th level spells now. I could make that a 4th level spell.
Yep.
Which, basically, the one that I was trying to make was basically combine Scorching Ray with Fireball, except the fireballs that it creates are not as big, so it's just like 4 beams get sent out that wherever they hit creates like a 10-foot radius explosion.
Yeah, I'd let you do it.
I
would. We would have to talk about the damage.
Yeah, exactly. I know we had started to discuss it before I'd forgotten about it, but there was a spell that was a large ice pillar that would lash out chains and immobilize players, having damage over time, minor ice damage for my Necrolord, and as a fairness, it used 2 spell slots for the single spell. See, that's the thing. As a DM, you can get so much more creative with what you throw at players than what you can give players. Because
yeah,
I couldn't give one of you guys that Fire Hurricane as just a regular spell. You know, because that took up that whole arena. That was what? The 80-foot radius?
Yeah.
I couldn't give that to you guys. I could maybe give it to you as like a 20-foot radius. And that would be great for us, like an Eldritch Knight.
Yeah.
Like just cast that on yourself and charge into battle.
Yeah.
You know.
There's a lot of things where it's like, oh yeah. Or like because a lot of our player characters become NPCs if we continue to run in the same world. So it's like, hey, yeah, your character learned how to do that. So now they can do it, but yeah, you're not playing them anymore. Right. It hurts, but it's like, oh man, that's possible to learn.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if my current character survives your whole campaign, I want him to have the reputation of a character that just makes his own spells. Yeah. You know, akin to that of...
because your character's basically a spellcasting prodigy.
Right.
That's the whole idea.
The Circle of 8? Like, where there's so many different spells named after them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want my character to end up not like the same prestige as them necessarily, but and that's what I'm trying to plant now is like, yeah, I mean, he's only level 7 and he's already wanting to create his own spells. Because I already have a 21 intelligence capable of 22. I don't know that I... Mm-hmm. Well, no, I'm going to take Keen Mind next time I get a
you son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
Hey, it fits with my character.
I know. It's the same thing that I used against you, so I can't be that angry.
Right. But,
No, I'm going to use the new Keen Mind. Piss you off.
But yeah, that's something that makes it interesting. Are you good? Are you dying over there?
Dude, I've been dying all day. I spent all morning in the hospital.
That's fantastic. You should
Not
clarify.
for me though.
Yeah, you weren't the one in the hospital. You should clarify
No.
that.
My father had a minor surgery today, and then he's gonna have to do a major one coming up. But we're trying to push it back for certain times. Probably after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, definitely. So
Because
yeah,
you'll be on bed rest for a month, which is yay. I get to babysit.
prayers up for Eli's dad. You know, anyone keep him in your prayers. But yeah, I don't know, man. These new core rules are
There are good things to take away from it, but there are
Yeah.
a lot of bad things.
There are
and
a lot
it
of
hurts
really
me
bad
as
things.
it hurts me as a DM to look at it and be like, you guys butchered a game that I love so much.
Well, and some of the stuff is stupid. Like, just before we went live, you were reading off Zealot. Zealots don't get to stay alive when they hit 0 hit points anymore. What's the point? There's no point in that subclass anymore. That was the Zealot's whole calling card. Was that what was it, Rage Beyond Death?
Yeah,
Where
it's gone now.
Yeah, like there's no point. If the Zealot just falls unconscious whenever it hits 0 hit points, it is not a worthwhile subclass anymore. That was literally the only thing that separated it from other barbarian subclasses, and now it's gone. What are you doing? Like that makes 0 sense.
But then you get subclasses added in like World Tree Barbarian that you now get an extra 10 foot of reach with all of your attacks, and you can teleport you and your party members around the battlefield.
Excuse me, an extra 10 foot, so 15 feet?
Yeah, so you can reach out to 15 feet. If you take a reach weapon, that now goes out to 20 feet.
Are you insane?
Nope.
What?
Yep. And you can teleport your party around. So you want to go first as this barbarian, rage, grab your fighter, and teleport into their backline.
I can't freaking believe this, man.
Or Bard, College of Dance. Oh, you want what was it? Unarmored defense as a bard? Here you go. And you can make attacks, and you give everybody bonuses to initiative. You give everybody bonuses. You get bonuses out the ass for doing it. But you're actually less easy to hit, which is annoying. Let's flip over to that one. Okay, College of Dance, dazzling footwork. You have advantage on charisma performance checks that involves you dancing. Unarmored defense, your base armor class is equal to 10 plus your dex plus your charisma modifier. Agile strikes, when you expend a use of your bardic inspiration as part of an action, a bonus action or a reaction, you can make one unarmed strike as part of that action, bonus action, or reaction. Bardic damage, when you use your dexterity instead of strength for the attack rolls of, you can use your dex instead of strength for attack rolls with your unarmed strike. When you deal damage, you can deal bludgeoning damage equal to your bardic inspiration roll, plus your dexterity modifier, instead of the strike's normal damage. This roll doesn't expend the spell die. Inspiring movement. When an enemy you can see ends its turn within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction and use Bardic Inspiration to move half your speed. Then one ally of your choice within 30 feet can also move half its speed using their reaction. None of these movements provoke attack of opportunity. Tandem footwork. When you roll initiative, you can spend one of your Bardic Inspiration. If you don't have The incapacitated condition. When you do so, roll your Bardic inspiration die. You and each ally within 30 feet of you who can see and hear you gain a bonus to initiative equal to the number rolled. Leading evasion. You basically just get evasion. And you can pass it on to a ally within 5 feet of you.
Man,
I actually thought it was a really interesting subclass.
it's interesting, but the thing that doesn't make sense to me is the problem with 5e. I think the biggest problem with 5e, more so than anything else, is that there's a number of subclasses that felt useless. Why on God's green earth would I take Storm Herald Barbarian when I could go Zealot and never die? I could go Ancestral Guardian and protect my allies. I could go Totem and be
And never
practically
die.
unkillable because I'm immune to everything. Like, so why would I pick Storm Herald? No, you wouldn't, because Storm Herald's just not good compared to it. So
I might update that class for the Gestalt rules just because I'm bored.
I still think we should do our series on here of like fixing subclasses and classes. Yeah. I still think we should do that.
I will say this right now. Expect to see if we use these rules. I might just take the Ranger out of this.
Really?
Because Rangers got really good.
Interesting.
So, Rangers get spellcasting, favored enemy, weapon master. First level, second level, deft explorer fighting style, third level, ranger subclass, fourth, ability score, fifth, extra attack, sixth, roving, seventh, subclass feature, eight, ability score, ninth, expertise, 10th, tireless. 13, relentless hunter. I'm just going to skip over the subclasses, features, and the ability score improvements. 13 is relentless hunter, 14th is nature's veil, 17th is precise hunter, 18th is feral senses, 19 is epic boon, and 20 is foe slayer. Expertise, boom, that's terrifying to give to a ranger. Roving, you get 10 feet of movement while you're not wearing heavy armor. You also gain a fly and a swim speed equal to your speed. Expertise, we know what that one is. Oh, yeah, Deft Explorer gives you expertise too, by the way. Tireless, you gain temporary hit points as a action. To 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier. Decrease exhaustion. Whenever you finish a short rest, your exhaustion level, if any, decreases by 1. Level 13, Relentless Hunter. Taking damage can't break your concentration on Hunter's Mark. Nature's Veil. You can give yourself invisibility condition until the start of your next turn as a bonus action. Precise Hunter. You have advantage on attack rolls against a creature currently marked with your Hunter's Mark. Feral Senses. You gain blind sight to 30 feet. Foe Slayer. The damage from your Hunter's Mark is a D10 rather than a D6.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Ranger actually looks strong.
What were the 4 subclasses for that one?
Okay, you got Beastmaster. Which they buffed, which is kind of scary.
Okay.
I might actually look at running a Beastmaster too. So it can use help. You pick the creature, yada yada. Shared spells. When you cast a spell targeting yourself, you can also affect your primal companion beast if the spell is within 30 feet of the beast.
Oh gosh.
Yep. Fey Wanderer, which is, I think, a new one.
Fey Wanderer.
Yeah. Third level, you deal an extra D4 psychic damage.
Okay.
It increases at level 11 to a D6. You get extra spells. Otherworldly Glamour. When you make Charisma check, you gain a bonus to the check equal to your Wisdom modifier. You also gain proficiency in one of the following skills of the Charisma skills. Beguiling Twist. You have advantage on saving throws from being charmed or frightened. In addition, whenever you or a creature you can see within 120 feet makes a saving throw to avoid or end a charmed or frightened condition, you can use your reaction and you can force a different creature you see within 120 feet to make it against your spell saving throw. So you can basically keep charms and frightens up for your team. Fey reinforcements. You can cast summon Fey without anything. You can do it once per long rest. And it doesn't require concentration. Misty Wanderer. You can cast Misty Step without expending a spell slot. You can also teleport somebody with you. Gloomstalker is back.
Okay. I couldn't remember if Gloomstalker was one of the ones they kept.
Gloomstalker hasn't changed that much. And Hunter is back.
Okay. But, so, okay. Building off what I was talking about earlier, I understand why they wanted to go with fewer. Because there were a lot of, like...
There was a lot of fat.
There was a lot of nothing subclasses. That it was just like, why would I take that? But at the same time, you look at the subclasses that Ranger had. Oh no, Fey Wanderer was one before. So you had Drake Warden, Hunter, Beastmaster, Fey Wanderer, Swarmkeeper, Gloomstalker, Horizon Walker, and Monster Slayer. If you can, like, I guess they could have mixed Drake Warden into Beastmaster a little bit, but it felt different enough.
Yeah.
Swarmkeeper is entirely unique, and you probably don't have anything that's close to that. I mean, for crap's sake, let's look at Barbarian. What were they had World Tree, Zealot. What were the other two?
Totem Warrior, but they changed the name of it, and
Isn't it like Wild
Berserker
or something?
Yeah,
Berserker.
I am Berserker.
Okay. In 5e, you have Berserker, Totem Warrior, Battle Rager, Beast, Wild Magic, Ancestral Guardian, Storm Herald, Zealot. So it's like, you have so many different flavors of character that you can play. And while there are certain ones that it's like, yes, it kind of sucks, it needs to be fixed, you know, it was still an option. And I think cutting down the amount of classes, or amount of subclasses, is great if all of the subclasses feel good. But when you make Zealot suck, and you do other things like that, where there are other subclasses that we've looked at where it's like, that's just bad, what was the point? You trimmed the fat, but you caught a lot of the good meat in there too.
Yeah, like Fighter. Dude, I feel so bad for fighters because of what they took away from Fighter. Because I will say this, I loved the Samurai, but it was not the strongest fighter subclass.
Oh no, far from it.
So let's see. Let me see if I can just find it real quick. Subclass. Battlemaster, Champion, Eldridge Knight, and Psy Warrior. I would never add Psy Warrior.
No.
I would have honestly done what was it? Rune Knight. Rune Knight was so cool.
Rune Knight was really cool. Echo Fighter.
Echo Fighter's also dope.
Like,
it's just, it hurts me.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it's there's a lot wrong with it, but to get on to our second thing, 50 minutes into this podcast.
Sorry, let's shit on D&D some more.
Yeah, right. We have beaten this new edition of D&D into the dirt over multiple podcasts. So, time to talk about something that we haven't talked about before, which I have been keeping up with for a while because it's a YouTuber I watch. Billy Mitchell versus Carl Jobst. So if anybody is unaware of what this is, first I'll say Billy Mitchell, if you've never heard the name, he is a well-known Donkey Kong player who, you know, I can't say just Donkey Kong. It was like retro arcade player. Calls himself the video game player of the century, you know, whatever. He's got all these there's a whole mess of like things. He was in the old King of Kong Fistful of Quarters movie back in 2007, I think, 2005, whenever. He supposedly had the world's first perfect Pac-Man. You know, there's all sorts of things like that. 2018, it was revealed that he cheated on his Donkey Kong world record. At that point, it was no longer the world record. He'd gotten blown out of the water, but the point was, when he did attain the world record, he cheated. Basically, he played on MAME instead of original software. MAME is just emulation. But the thing with emulation is it allows you to do things like have save states and, you know, stuff like that you wouldn't get on a actual Donkey Kong machine. It's revealed that he's cheated. He starts throwing out lawsuits left and right. Basically, he threw out so many lawsuits that he became less known for being a retro game player and more known for being one of the most litigious people that you could ever get involved with. Like, if you farted while you were talking about Billy Mitchell, he'd sue you for it. It's ridiculous. So back in 2020, he sues this YouTuber Carl Jobst for talking about him. And I believe the particular thing he sent 3 concerns notice to Jobst, which anyone who doesn't know the legal system, a concerns notice is what you have to send somebody whenever you're suing them. It's basically like, hey, if you don't retract your statement, or if, in the case of YouTube, if you don't take your video down within the next 14 days, then we'll take further action. You know, stuff like that. That's what a concerns notice is. It's basically notifying somebody that they're being sued, so they know, you know, it's not just like, I'd like to sue this person. All right, you know, okay, court's in 5 days. Oh, wait, they didn't even know that they were being sued. So basically, he sent in for 3 different lawsuits. There's only one that actually stuck because the other 2 were freaking moronic. Literally, he sued him over including a meme that said he cheated. No joke. He actually had his lawyers send this YouTuber a concerns notice over a meme. That never got progressed, but this current one is because in a 2020 video, Carl Jobst speaking on another YouTuber, Apollo Legend, who unfortunately Kurt Cobained himself. I know I usually use that comedically, but you know, I can't really say the real thing. But yeah, he did do that as a result of having not just as a result, but partially, undeniably, as a result of Billy Mitchell suing him and having to settle and losing a lot of his YouTube revenue. He was already dealing with other things outside of it. He had health issues and everything, and losing that YouTube revenue was at least a domino.
A tipping point.
Yeah, that, you know, you can't say Billy Mitchell was responsible for this guy doing it, but because ultimately it was still the guy's decision to do it. But that was no doubt a factor in his decision. Jobs says this. Mitchell is suing him for that claim. So, trial just started this past month, and it got postponed now. I believe they're coming back here sometime in early October. But it's freaking insane, man, because Billy Mitchell lies through his teeth at, like, it. Billy Mitchell would tell you the sky was green, even if you could walk outside and see that it was blue. Like, you could you could look up and go, oh, the sky is blue, and Billy Mitchell would be like, nah, it's green. That is how much he lies. And
then he would sue you over saying that it was...
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of guy that's, like, you know what? Billy Mitchell, sue me. You're a complete tool. Go ahead, sue me for defamation. I think you're a jackass. Like, legitimately. Another thing is, which this has been publicized multiple times, before Apollo Legend actually, you know, actually kicked the bucket, Mitchell saw a rumor that he did and texted multiple people giddy that Apollo Legend could be dead. At the time, he wasn't, but, you know, he's horrible. Like, he's a deplorable human being. But there is some funny things. There's not much has been allowed out about the trial. You know, it's been very low-key. But there has been a couple of things that, like, sprinkled out. And one of the funniest things is, in multiple videos, Carl has referred to Billy Mitchell as Silly Bitchel, which is fantastic. But legitimately, he was questioned by Billy Mitchell's lawyers as to why he called him Silly Bitchel. And his response was, "'Cause it's funny." And the lawyer was like, "Do you still think it's funny?" And he was like, "Yes." So this trial is an absolute nightmare. But one of the funnier things that, well, I mean, not funny, but interesting things, is nobody really blamed Billy Mitchell for Apollo Legend's death. They said the lawsuit was a factor, but it's not like you could blame Billy Mitchell, because Billy Mitchell didn't actually take any money from him. And this was actually something that Carl put in a video, I think one of the early videos, that's part of what drove Apollo Legend to that, was because he had to pay a large sum of money to Billy. Then it got corrected, and a few days later he did edit and take that part out. So, or like rather fix the wording of it so, you know, it was clear that Apollo did not have to pay any money to Billy Mitchell. Through the course of this trial, it's kind of been revealed that he did have to pay Mitchell, which makes a lot of people go, oh, wait a second, so you were partially responsible. Like, he's only made himself look worse at every turn by dropping frivolous lawsuits over the dumbest things, by sullying his own name. He outright lied. He was in another lawsuit with Twin Galaxies, which is a record-keeping organization, who is the one who removed his scores from the leaderboard after it was revealed he cheated. He was in a lawsuit with them up until early this year when they settled out of court. And there is footage of him perjuring. Like, they're asking him questions and he's lying in court nonstop. It's mind-numbing, and it, like, I can't do it justice to explain all of it in one podcast, because this is 4 years now of content that has come out of this, and just baffling things that Billy Mitchell has said and done, like blatantly lying in freaking court.
Yeah.
In cross-examination and stuff. Like, oh my gosh. And I
That's a big no-no.
Yeah. I don't know how he's not in jail for that. I know it settled outside of court, but it doesn't matter if it never went to court. If you lie in a cross-examination like that, that's still perjury.
Yeah.
So it's just insane. And the one shining light is, if the judge rules in Carl's favor, Carl lives in Australia, not in America. Oh. Australian courts are much better than American courts, because when you sue somebody in Australia, especially for something like defamation, if Billy Mitchell loses the case, he has to pay all of Carl Jobs' legal fees. Or at least most of them, like 90% of them. So you can't do what you do in American courts, where somebody with more money just strangles somebody with less money by delaying lawsuits and making them spend more legal fees and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, even if you win in court, you get jack out of it, because it's... Australia's like, no, if you're going to drag this person through a long legal process and you lose, you're going to pay every bit of their legal fees.
Yeah.
So, not only is it vitally important because, for one, Carl couldn't have defamed Billy Mitchell when his reputation was already in the gutter, because, believe it or not, you have to have a reputation to sully to be defamed. And if everybody already hates you, there's really not much that saying a few things about you is going to do. But it makes it so Billy can't sue anybody else. He can't keep throwing out these frivolous lawsuits because, one, he won't have the money, and two, there will be a legal, like, written proof that not only did Billy Mitchell cheat, but like all these other things that he's been using to leverage, because technically he's never been confirmed a cheater, and he's never done, you know, blah, blah, blah. If the judge rules in Carl's favor, all of that gets confirmed, and now every other legal case Billy tries to file has legal precedent set up to shut it down before it can even get off the ground.
It's so dumb.
It's horribly dumb, but America needs Carl Jobs to win this lawsuit. YouTube does, really, because then I can say things like Billy Mitchell's a tool and not have to worry about some tool bag coming after me because I made a comment about him in a YouTube video, you know. But it's just it's an insane situation. If anybody is interested in any sort of legal process, and heck, even if you aren't, if you're interested in video games, you just want to laugh at a freaking donkey who doesn't know how to accept the smallest modicum of criticism you could possibly think up. Anything talking about Billy Mitchell's lawsuit is fantastic to listen to. And you get to learn the depths of pettiness. 'Cause, I mean, let's be real, all of these multitude of lawsuits that Billy Mitchell has thrown out has been over the fact that people said he cheated at a retro video game. That's why.
Oh, I got another horrible thing for you.
Oh?
Have you heard of the Hot Chemist?
No.
It's this chick in Texas who is just a chemist. She just does her stuff. Well, when she goes to the bar, she takes a cup with her that she has liquid in it, and if you put roofies in it, it explodes. A Texas police officer put roofies in it.
Oh.
It exploded. He's currently in the hospital with glass fragments in his neck.
Ooh.
And they're saying that she's being reckless, and she's like, I'm not being reckless, it's perfectly safe, as long as you don't add this. So, that's gonna become a big lawsuit.
Yeah, it is. Well, the thing is, so was she testing it, or?
No, it's happened before. She takes it with her to bars, so guys who try and roofie her.
Oh. And, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm sorry. You slipped the roofie into the glass. You deserve whatever's coming to you.
And, oh man, I saw some of the stuff on that. It's going wild. Because they're already, like, in court over it.
Have you seen the videos of people online who will spike their fringe drinks with candy?
Show how easy it is?
Show how easy it is to slip something into somebody's drink without them noticing?
Yep.
I'm like, yeah. Not that I'm really, like, out in public at, like, nightclubs or bars or anything, but there's a reason I hold my drinks the way I do, and that's with my hand over the top of the drink.
Oh, yep.
I do this weird. I've had people make fun of me for it before, but I do this weird like bird talon grip on my drinks, and I hold it like that.
I just pre-roofie myself.
Jokes on
Listen,
you,
man.
You can't roofie me if I'm already
roofied. I embrace the night. I don't actually do that because I don't go out. Please don't take this seriously. That is a joke we make at work, and I thought it would be funny for the podcast, and now that I'm thinking about it, that makes me sound like a terrible person.
I pre-roofie myself. Oh my gosh. Joke's on you. You can't assault me. Socks yourself in the jaw.
I've already pre-assaulted myself.
Oh my gosh.
Man, I need to be careful where I make my dark humor jokes.
That's not over the line. I think that's fine. That's funny. Oh my gosh. I pre-roofie myself. Jeez.
Okay.
The only thing I could say though with the chemist is if possibly redesigning it so it doesn't create a volatile explosion that could hurt somebody. I could see being reasonable, but like something where if
her explanation was, if you don't do anything to the drink is not dangerous.
Is it the liquid that it gets poured in?
Yeah, liquid or pills. She has it built both ways.
Yeah, I mean, but is it like, does any liquid in the glass cause the reaction? Like, is it the glass itself that's...
Oh no, it's the liquid inside, I believe.
Okay. So how do you have a drink then?
Because you put it in, you bring it in like in a thermos, you pour it into your cup and you set it down. And it's happened so many times at her regular bar that customers move away from her when she comes in.
Gee,
The
but
problem is that it was a cop that did it.
it's like, so you can't drink out of that glass.
Probably not. She might be
Okay.
able to. I don't know. I'm not a fucking chemist.
Clearly. Oh my gosh. That see, that is interesting though. It would be interesting if they could if one could be created where it was like, how to explain
If it's
it?
caused by the glass,
Caused by the
yeah.
glass. So basically you could set it up where it's like a you know, like they have those cups that are have the interior and exterior, and there's like the gel bits so you can freeze the cup and it
Yeah.
makes it cold. Do something like that where it's like, if the roofie pill or liquid or whatever gets poured into it, the interior part of the glass reacts and shatters. So it
Yeah.
contains, it's not like glass being sent everywhere, but it, I mean, it makes it obvious like this drink just got roofied. That would be
Yeah.
fantastic. Like you said, though, I'm not a chemist, so I have no idea if that's even something that's scientifically possible, but...
Listen, dude, I'm dumb. I know I'm dumb. Live by the sword, die by the sword. I use my stupidity as a weapon.
Good grief.
You got your quote?
Oh, shoot. I probably should.
Well, I got mine. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Plato.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. My motto is to be stronger than yesterday. If I have to, I'll be stronger than half a day ago, even a minute ago. Rock Lee from Naruto.
Nice.
But, all right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. I didn't put it on the schedule, but we are going to play Stardew after this. We're going to wait just a little bit. We're going to have a gap so we can get food and drink and everything. But, you know, give us 30 minutes and we'll be back for Stardew.
Let's say 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
That gives us 40 minutes.
9 o'clock.
Oh, also, real quick before we end the podcast. My Hero Academia. I started watching it. My favorite character so far. Raven Dude.
Oh gosh, I don't even Tokoyami?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I don't even remember his name. It's been that long since I watched it.
Dubbed because I'm dumb. But also my favorite moment is
How far are you?
Let me go open up my Crunchyroll.
Good grief.
You think I just sit there and watch it? That's all I did at the hospital today. Is I turned on Crunchyroll and set it up on a wall.
I mean, that's fair. It'd be really funny if you've gotten farther than I have.
Season 3, episode 40.
Okay, you have it. So what's the most recent thing that's happened?
They are on their way to their summer trip. Or just starting their summer trip.
To the summer camp?
Yeah.
The what was
I will
it
say though,
called? The training
All
camp?
Might playing the villain.
That's freaking terrifying, isn't it?
Dude, I was like,
it's so scary.
No. I was like, this not playing around no more.
This is what I'm saying. Like, oh my gosh, we could add another freaking 20 minutes talking about this. We'll talk about this more while playing Stardew, but yeah. I loved early My Hero so much, and then it hits a wall, and it's just a drag to watch or read, whatever. I liked early My Hero. So it's like, what, you've seen Hero Killer Stain.
Yes. I really liked Hero Killer Stain.
Stain was great. Let's see. They had the games were going alongside that.
The game was that the tournament you were talking about that made no sense. Or is there another one in later seasons?
No, because I enjoyed that.
No, there's got to be a later one.
That also might have been in a different anime.
Oh, fair. But yeah, I was just like, I like the superhero aspect to it. I like the superpowers. There are certain characters that I really don't like, but that's with all animes.
Which ones?
Engine Dude, I don't like him. He's a stick in the mud.
Engine Dude?
Yeah, class president.
Yeah. Gosh, I can't remember his freaking name either.
Zero G, I thought that was a great superpower. Probably my favorite moment of that is
Ingenium. Yes, thank you.
When her and Naval Laser dipshit are fighting 13, and she jumps at 13 towards the black hole, and 13's like, oh, I gotta stop it, I can't hurt the kids, and then she just fucking, like, leg locks 13's arm. It's like, oh, shit.
Which one? Oh, is 13 the one in, like, the spacesuit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Black hole.
Yeah. Clarification for everybody, I haven't watched this show since, like, 2021, so I am way behind. Like, I'm, like, I maybe... Was it more recent than that? I can't remember, because I actually stopped watching and continued reading the manga to a certain point. So I got like way ahead. Like I was reading up to the final battle, like just before the final battle happened when I lost interest in it. And I was just like, I can't remember even when it started now, when the anime started. Because I know I watched it while I was still working at my old job. And I continued Man.
2016 is when it started.
2016 is when it started. I think I started it in 2018.
Is it done?
The manga is, yes. So... Okay, we got to end the podcast. We can keep talking about this on Stardew, but I'll explain more of my opinions on it because I really enjoy it, but there's a lot of stuff I don't like about it. But we'll talk about that more. Give us 20. Now it's 35 minutes.
My bad. I've already seen Overlord.
So yeah,
we'll be back.
35 minutes. We'll be back for Stardew. We can talk about more anime. But thank you, everybody. If you're not watching Stardew, thank you for watching the podcast. We'll catch you later. Tally ho!
Talk to you then. Tally ho!